me introduce the team of scientists and research scholars who are working in the Paleozoic and Mesozoic. Dr. Neha Agarwal, she is working on palynology. Dr. Srikanta Murthy, he is also working on palynology. Dr. Pauline Sabina, she is working again on palynology. Dr. Anju Saxena, she is basically a sedimentologist as well as she is working on microspores or palynology as well as megafossils. Dr. Suresh Pillai, he is working on basically on the megascopic forms, that is the macrofossils. Dr. Deepa Agnihotri, she is also working on the megascopic forms or macrofossils. Mr. Hussain, he is working on the Spiti Basin and he is working with Dr. Anju Saxena. Mr. Alok Misra, he is working with Dr. Deepa Agnihotri and he is working in the Arunachal Paleozoic. Mr. Raj, he is working in Rajasthan both and Jaisalmer Basin, and basically he is working on different aspects, that is macrofossils and palynofossils. Mr. Shwez Gupta, he is working on the late Permian in the Spiti Valley and he is working with Dr. Anju Saxena. Mr. Deveshwar Mistra, he is working with Dr. Srikanta Murthy. He is working basically on the Permian-Triassic transition. And Dr. Saurabh Gautam, he is working as a research associate with Dr. Srikanta Murthy. Ms. Shivali Srivastav, she is a very efficient technical personnel and she is working with all of us in this group. She is Dr. Neelam Das. Basically, she is concentrating on the Mesozoic macroscopic forms or the Mesozoic megafossils. Ava Singh, she is basically working on a different aspect of Gondwana palynology. I should not say it is a palynology. Basically, she is working on nanofossils, and these nanofossils are excellent for biostratigraphy. Mr. Subhankar Pramanik, he is working again on Permian-Triassic transition and he is basically working on megaspores as well as palynological proxies from the Central Indian Triassic and Paleozoic. And lastly, myself, Amit Kumar Ghosh, and presently I am working here with all my team members, and basically my work is in the central part of India, that is on the Permian-Triassic transition. Paleozoic and Mesozoic time slice in the history of geological art is a significant period. During the Paleozoic, the major coal forming vegetation was existing, and in India we are fortunate enough that we have huge amount of coals deposited in different sedimentary basins of India. The Paleozoic flora is well diversified and it is represented by macroscopic forms. Those can be distinguished by Glossopteris flora, and the Glossopteris flora along with the palynological forms which are recovered from the sediments are significant for the categorization of different horizons within the Paleozoic. Coming to the Mesozoic is also diversified because we have a huge sequence of Triassic and early Cretaceous sediments in different parts of India. I now want to show you the macroscopic forms. This is a huge leaf impression of Glossopteris, and these Glossopteris along with the palynofossils have been recovered from this huge Glossopteris leaf was recovered from the Handappa area of Orissa, and which is also known as Hindrija Ghati coalfield. And along with this, you can see the vertebraria. Vertebrata is also very common in different sedimentary basins like Raniganj and Satpura and different basins of India. We have the fructifications of glossopteris here also. You can see scutum is represented by the fructification of glossopteris. Now coming to the Triassic. Triassic is another part because a major mass extinction event took place in the history of Earth, that is around 252 million years, and the Triassic flora is categorized by the representation of Dicroidium. You can see here Dicroidium, the beautifully preserved Dicroidium foliage along with the cuticles which are preserved over here. These are called compression fossils. Coming to the early Cretaceous, the early Cretaceous flora is known as Tylophilum flora. Tylophilum flora is, here you can see a leaf impression of Tylophilum. Again, a beautiful representation of Tylophilum is here. And the stem part which is known as Bucklandia. Okay. Apart from these, I must say here that the macrofossils are represented by the compressions as well as the impressions. On the other hand, we have the petrified forms also. You can see here a petrified tree trunk. It is a tree trunk which is polished, and this can be called the best type of preservation because you can have the anatomical details here. Compression is also very good because in case of compression you have the external morphological features as well as the cuticular features. You can pull the cuticle from the surface of the fossil, and you can digest it with nitric acid along with the alkali treatment. But in case of impression, we are handicapped. We have only the morphological features which are available in the impression fossils. Apart from that, we also study the palynological fossils, which are known as palynofossils. Palynological fossils can be categorized into two types, that is microspores as well as the megaspores. Microspores are in fact pteridophytes and gymnosperms. The microspores are preserved in the sediments itself, and we study this by the process of maceration. How this maceration is done? Initially, the rock samples are digested in hydrofluoric acid. After the digestion in hydrofluoric acid, because why you use the hydrofluoric acid? Hydrofluoric acid is used to remove the silica part from the sediments. After this, it is digested with nitric acid to make it more translucent and to make the visible of the carbonaceous part, and it is then subjected to alkali treatment for neutralization. This is the process, and these slides are prepared after the palynological study, and in case of after the maceration is complete. And in this way we study the slides, and I will show you some pictures of the microfossils, that is the palynofossils or microspores. And again the megaspores, how it is studied. Megaspores are basically the product of heterosporous lycopsids. Heterosporous lycopsids or heterosporous pteridophytes. This is actually an evolutionary lineage which we call an advanced form, because in case of pteridophytes we find the homosporous pteridophytes, and in case of when we come to the lycopsids which are having the seed habit, they produce two types of spores. One is the microspore, another is the megaspore. So the megaspores are basically large in size. In case of fossil study, we only can demarcate the microspores and megaspores by the size difference. Normally it is 150 to 200 micron above the size when we consider it as a megaspore. And megaspores are randomly picked in the macerated samples, and then it is again digested with nitric acid as well as the alkali treatment. Now I will show you some slides of the megaspores also. And in this way, we try to reconstruct the vegetation type during the Paleozoic and Mesozoic and also build up the biostratigraphy.